Hey y'all, Uncle Jimmy here. When you speak for yourself, you're forced to think for yourself. And when you think for yourself, the sports world looks different. In order to enjoy this podcast and this show, you need to have the courage to look at the world from alternative points of view and not be offended when you disagree. Speak for Yourself isn't your Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram feed. SFY tells you what you need to hear and not what you want to hear. So, welcome aboard, buckle up, and enjoy the ride.
We start in New England, where, by my calculations, we are 5 days, 5 hours, and 15 minutes from the Bill Belichick, Tom Brady funeral. Football fans outside of the Upper Northeast have been waiting for 20 years. It's over. Say it with me. O-V-E-R. Brian Flores and the Miami Dolphins killed the Patriots dynasty yesterday. The 17.5-point underdogs bounced the Patriots out of the 2 seed and a first-round playoff bye. Ryan Fitzpatrick's touchdown dart with 20 seconds to play pushed the Patriots into the wild card round and put Tennessee in position to perform last rites on Belichick and Brady this Saturday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern. CBS's Jim Nantz and Tony Romo will officiate the funeral. In lieu of flowers, Belichick has asked NFL fans in Kansas City, Baltimore, Houston, and Buffalo to send sideline hand signals from their favorite football teams. All right, watching the Patriots disintegrate into madness felt far better than I anticipated. Look at that. Look at that video of 42-year-old Tom Brady desperately running around and laddering the ball in hopes of a miracle. It's undignified. It's beautiful. It made me chuckle with delight. It's the death throes of a dynasty. It's the fall of the Berlin Wall and the signaling of the end of my Cold War with Brady and Belichick. Look, I respect Belichick and Brady and all that they represent, but 20 years of unchecked power is too long. As a Chiefs fan, this demise is sweet and overdue. Saturday night, when Ryan Tannehill, Derrick Henry, and Mike Vrabel, another Belichick disciple, finish off the Patriots, I will transition into giving Belichick and Brady the same kind of respect I gave and give Michael Jordan once his Bulls dynasty ended. But today, I'm celebrating. The Patriots are dead. Vintage Tom Brady isn't walking back through that door. His receivers stink. They can't match his level of commitment. Brady questioned his younger teammates' commitment last Friday, 2 days before the Dolphins game, before the Dolphins came into Gillette Stadium and ruined Brady's bye week. Hell, there are even rumors Belichick might be interested in the Giants job. Oh my, would I love to see Belichick leave the AFC. That would be awesome. Leave the AFC to John Harbaugh, Lamar Jackson, and Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I'm getting ahead of myself. First, we must prepare for Saturday's funeral. The Patriots are favored by 5.5 points. The odds makers in Vegas don't know the Patriots are dead yet. Lucky for you and me, we can turn a profit on their death. All right, joining the desk now are Fox Sports NFL analyst Bucky Brooks and TJ Houshmandzadeh. Marcel, let's start with you.
Yeah.
Am I out over my skis? Will Tennessee beat the Patriots and eliminate them from the playoffs Saturday?
Tennessee has not beat New England. Stop that. That clock up there, Patriots dynasty ends. Where is that? Right here. It should say Whitlock eats crow. That's when he's going to do it in 5 days. That's a lot of crow. I know you're going to eat this crow. I want to focus in on one of the headlines about the familiarity with the Patriots because of their coach, Mike Vrabel. And everyone's focusing in on how Belichick is a 500 coach against his disciples. But pure disciples is someone who coached with you on your staff, coordinators, had that access pass that players don't have when you go upstairs and hear the raw coverage and footage of their personnel. That's not Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel, since 2011, been dead set and focused on his own career as a coach. So that familiarity in personnel and philosophy is not as present as people are trying to highlight when you're talking about Mike Vrabel. So now let's just talk about player to player and, more importantly, what's your mindset in hitting that switch when it comes postseason time. Y'all believing in the Tennessee Titans when it comes postseason time versus New England Patriots? I'm not making that bet. I'm going with the Patriots, and they continue with their dominance.
Oh, for 1 second, TJ.
Oh, here we go.
You know it was a playoff game basically yesterday, win and end.
Yeah.
And Derrick Henry put 200 on.
He put 200 on that JV team from Houston. That wasn't the real team. That was the early game. You know, on Friday at 3 o'clock, you show up at the high school. That team showed up. Come on, man. That wasn't really Houston.
Man, I can go either way with this. But I really believe Tennessee Titans are going to beat them. Like, I wanted to roll with you, and I'm trying to convince myself. Last year when Tennessee Titans played, the New England Patriots, a better New England Patriots team, they beat them 34-10.
They did.
It wasn't even close. They held the Patriots to 40 yards rushing. Tannehill was playing as good as you can play at quarterback right now. And Derrick Henry, man, when that game started, he was so far out of the league in the rushing title, and he wanted it so bad that offense. When he broke that rushing title, did you see the way that offensive line celebrated with him? It was like they broke it as well. And so I look at this, the way Ryan Tannehill has played since he's been inserted as a starter, the way the Patriots look. They have Tom Brady and Tom Brady, Julian Edelman, and I don't know who else. And that's how Brady looks at it. So when you don't have the confidence of your teammates, you had the confidence in one guy, you're going to start to force the ball to guys. You're going to start throwing interceptions, making bad plays. And, yeah, Jason, I'm with you, man. This is probably the end of a dynasty.
Look, man, I don't know why it's taking y'all so long to come around to the fact that it's over. It's over for the Patriots. It's over because their quarterback is the worst quarterback in the playoffs. Tom Brady.
I can't go with you on that one, Bucky.
He is the worst quarterback in the playoffs. Let's count them off.
God.
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Nah, I take Jimmy.
Drew Brees.
Come on.
Carson Wentz.
Keep talking.
Russell Wilson.
Whatever.
Aaron Rodgers. Pat Mahomes. Lamar Jackson.
Okay.
Ryan Tannehill. The only guy where it's possibly questionable.
Let's go.
Kirk Cousins and Josh Allen. That's it.
Josh Allen.
That's what we're talking about. That's what we're talking about right now. So look, that boogeyman that's across the ring, he ain't it. He ain't the guy anymore.
Tom Brady might bite an ear this weekend.
Yeah, and so that's what it is.
Who getting shot?
In the playoffs, it's about quarterback play. And when I look at the numbers, 8 games under 60 completion percent, 100 passer rating, Tom Brady.
Fist bump, Bucky.
It's over.
Awesome.
Oh, that was awesome?
That was
oh,
awesome.
My God. People forget. The most talented team doesn't win in the NFL. And also the guys that go out there laud the best stats. Tom Brady last year threw 2 touchdowns and 3 interceptions to the tune of a Super Bowl championship. Tom Brady out there last year, 85 quarterback rating to the tune of a Super Bowl championship. So, yes, on paper, some guys are going to suggest they are ready for this moment. But that's what Tom Brady is great at, providing excellence despite what it looks like. And if you talk about Tom Brady in the first 3 Super Bowl runs, that wasn't excellent Tom Brady. But guess what? Super Bowl championship, Super Bowl championship, Super Bowl championship. That even continued last year. You're still talking about the Super Bowl champion. Last time I checked, talking about the boogeyman in the ring, you can't beat a champ without beating the champ. And who has beaten this team in the moments that matter most? I don't know that team.
The Miami Dolphins yesterday in a game that mattered at Gillette Stadium.
Yeah.
They were playing for home field.
You can't fake that, though. You can't fake that this is the same desperation necessary as a playoff situation. You can tell yourself that, but at your core essence, you know you will live on. Now this team is going to be faced with that. Why did Brady call out his team's maturity and preparation? Because he knew they are not treating this like the playoff game. It should be. But now they're going to know because there is going to be a desperate consequence that comes from them losing this game.
Part of it that makes me believe Tennessee can win is big. The first game of the season, the Patriots played the Miami Dolphins and beat them 43-0.
Donut.
43-0, and then to turn around and lose 20. Have you gotten that much worse as a team in 16 weeks, or just the Dolphins just that much better? And so the Patriots know. Bill Belichick he told them, this is a playoff game. Approach it as such.
That's talk.
And to fall down and basically try to... When have we seen the Patriots, Tom Brady and them, playing how they played at the end of the game? Lateral. You just don't see that. That very much
embarrassing.
Very much so.
Wow, you guys are really going to set up a team that...
Awesome.
I love the fact that they came down a notch. And despite being the Super Bowl champions, they can go out there and look like they that petty. Like, we need this that bad. That actually is a positive attribute.
Tom Brady out there.
It's one thing. I've been on teams that haven't made the playoffs. I've been a Miami Dolphin, bro. When you don't have tomorrow, you go all in. But when you don't have tomorrow, as the Patriots did, they try to tell themselves they didn't, but they knew they did. Guess what? It's a different level of desperation. This week against Tennessee, with the lack of familiarity, because they didn't even play them this year. No. So stop talking about how y'all beat us last year. We were the Super Bowl champions you beat last year. Respect what's going to happen to you in a different climate, and that's playoff football.
I think we know where Bucky is, and you can assume where I am at. If they lose on Saturday, is the dynasty over? To me, it sounds like everybody's preparing Brady and Belichick potentially to go their separate ways.
Ooh, well, we got to properly define dynasty. One, if it's about that uniform, about that organization, continue to have success, dynasty's not over. Let's be real. Have they won a Super Bowl every year? No. So we're not going to go out there and say, oh, it's just about them not winning the Super Bowl. Oh, we're going to say they may lose their player, their top player in Tom Brady. Well, we've seen that happen before as well. If you want to go back to the 49ers dynasty, when they lost to Joe Montana. Steve Young came. Amazing, but guess what? You got to prove this. This Super Bowl championship is not just about you got the talent, you're next up. You have to go out there and prove it. They even changed their coach with George Seifert. He won 2. Let's go to the Cowboys situation. When you got rid of coach Jim Johnson.
Oh, Jimmy Johnson.
Everybody said it's a wrap. Ain't no way to. It wasn't a wrap. So all I'm saying, there are interchangeable pieces that come with a dynasty that I don't think that this dynasty ends. Even if Tom Brady leaves, I believe enough in Bill Belichick and this culture where he can find someone to put in, plug and play, and still be a contender.
You're that guy that sleeps with the nightlight on, right?
I did.
Because you're worried about the boogeyman coming out of the closet. I'm telling you, Marcellus, they needed to win against the Dolphins to give them their road to success winning the Super Bowl, meaning always have the bye, play 2 games, and then they're in. Now they have to go the long road. It's not happening for them. And when they can't win a game where everything is on the line, it leads me to believe that they know it's over.
Almost everything on the line.
Tom Brady's comments after the game, talking about couldn't get it going. The guys just don't understand the lack of preparation. Matthew Slater saying there are guys on this team that may never see the playoffs again. Internally, they know. It's a wrap.
Yeah, if
Come on,
they lose this game, it's over. And
y'all.
you say, oh, Brady can move on. That's a huge piece of the puzzle to replace. Who do you have? Who do you have? You're going to go with Jarrett Stidham, who looks like he probably can play, but he hasn't played outside of the preseason. And so they lose this game, there's going to be a lot of moving parts. Will guys take less? Brady started that. And, okay, our best player's taking less money. Okay, so it's okay if I do. You're going to have to find a quarterback if you don't have one. Now you're going to finally have to pay some receivers because you don't pay guys. And so the biggest piece of the puzzle leaves, it's over.
And look. Brady is such a tone setter for their culture. And if you look at his comments Friday beforehand and you look at his body language and things after the game, the culture is starting to crumble. It doesn't last forever. It's incredible that Belichick had this for 20 years, but it never lasts that long. It never goes on forever. Red Auerbach did it with the Boston Celtics. Mm-hmm. Phil Jackson and Michael Jordan did something with Chicago. Golden State had a nice little run. Mm-hmm. But look, the Dallas Cowboys, going back to Tom Landry, had a nice run. But they all end. This is inevitable. Father Time's catching up with Tom Brady. We can see it with our own eyes. And that culture is starting to crumble.
Man, I would hate to be a friend of Jason Whitlock, who may have been a friend of Phil Jackson once he left Chicago and people said, hey, man, you had Jordan and Pippen. I know that you think you're an amazing coach, but you're not going to be able to do this again. Then he gets Shaq and Kobe, and they do it again. And then Kobe runs Phil out, whatever happens, and everybody's like, dang, maybe it was about Phil being that culture creator. He comes back, they win 2 more. The point is, you may be putting a little more onus on Tom Brady as the culture creator than I am. I'm saying wherever Phil Jackson went as a coach, good luck stopping that. And I'm saying, well, as long as Bill Belichick is in that door, he's going to extract culture out of you. Every one of us has been in a disciplinarian role with a coach, and we've been with a player-friendly coach. We know how to play it based on expectations. You get around Belichick, and you got some talent, and you got a mind about yourself,
but
he's going to get it out of you.
You put up with a lot when you know you're going to win. Mm-hmm. If they're not showing it, it's what Bucky said earlier. Not only do the players know, but them coaches knew the end was coming. Why would they go San Antonio Brown after what happened? They knew we needed a player like this to possibly save us. Early in the season, they knew it. They were showing us. We didn't realize that we need help because we don't have enough.
They got your boy Chad. and they still won after Chad, but Chad had his issues. They brought Chad up in there. Chad didn't want to extract the culture out of him. They got him out of there. This is not the first time they rolled the dice on a character player.
I would agree, Marcellus, but just remember.
There you go.
Just remember, in terms of, and you're right, Belichick establishes the culture.
Yes.
But it ain't no different than a mother or a father establishing a culture in the home. And if she doesn't or he doesn't have the right co-signer at the most important position, quarterback, you can yell and scream and do all you want, but if Belichick's ability to coach Tom Brady like he's a practice squad player helped infuse that culture in New England, I think it's curtains.
Yeah, I think so too. It kind of reminds me of the San Antonio Spurs. They'll be competitive and always kind of around the mix, but they won't be championship teams.
Still need that guy. I'll give you that. And look, this is why they had so many issues in New England the last couple of years over the Jimmy G situation. Belichick really hung his hopes on Jimmy G being a successor. Now he has to go find him.
Hey, where's my clock?
I told you to eat that crow.
I need my clock. I need to be updated on how much time before. There it is.
Look at that.
TJ Houshmandzadeh and Bucky Brooks are back. Time now for a big story presented by Hyundai. Let's move to Dallas, where the Cowboys beat the Redskins, but were knocked out of the playoffs anyway, as the Eagles beat the Giants to clinch the NFC East. After starting the year with a Super Bowl hype, Jason Garrett is taking most of the heat after Dallas's 8-8 finish. But yesterday, Jerry Jones said he'll be looking hard at his own performance as well.
When you work for yourself, then you have to evaluate and you have to change what you're doing. You don't fire yourself. That's an impossibility. So you look at what you can do better, and you go do it better if you can. I make changes, and I certainly can see myself making a lot of change in a lot of areas.
Oh, Jerry was so close to saying the right thing. Then he said, but you don't fire yourself. And it blew it for me. Is Jerry making a mistake keeping control of the Cowboys to himself?
No, he's not making a mistake. I think that we are really putting a lot on what the title is of what Jerry Jones means to this organization as owner and general manager. To me, it's more about the execution of that power that he has and the way he displays it. So he creates a culture that actually is counterproductive to what he fully desires, which is total team success in the Super Bowl championship. You can't win the big things talking about the big things. You got to do all the little things in micro steps to get into the overall goal. Everyone up here who's climbed that ladder of success knows what I'm talking about. So with Jerry Jones always taking this macro approach, this big totality approach, he's forgetting about the little things, and it's really creating a culture of ambivalence. Now let's talk about what that means. Coming into the season, and now, sitting there at the end of the season, did Ezekiel Elliott live up to the money or did he disappoint? Disappointed. DeMarcus Lawrence, did he live up to the money or disappoint? Disappointed. Amari Cooper, to the projected money, did he live up to it or disappoint? Disappoint. And then the one guy that you're not banking on, who's actually doing all the right things, all those little things, puts out his best performance in his career, which is your quarterback, Dak Prescott. That's the guy who actually goes against the grain of this culture and amplifies his career in the year where everyone else was rewarded for not doing what they're supposed to do. It's just a backwards culture right now. And if Jerry Jones stops speaking, stops talking in those big terms, and let these guys focus in on the little details, I think they have success.
I'm with you. Excuse me. He's not making a mistake. And I was at the game yesterday, and I just kind of just watched certain things and just talked to different people. And they truly believe as a front office, Jerry Jones down, that they've put a great team together. Why are we not winning? And you just watch the game and you just watch certain things. They don't have that leadership on offense to where when things aren't going right, Dak Prescott, Ezekiel, somebody on offense that is going to play, you got to get in somebody's face sometimes. And it's okay. Like, I can get in your face and go off on you, but I still love you. I want the best for you, but I want what's best for the team. And Jerry Jones, he can't control that. He can't force somebody to be a leader and take control of that offense. A coach can tell a player, but somebody on that team is going to have to take control. Jerry Jones looking at it like, I've put together a great team. We aren't winning. So what do I do? What do I pull back? Maybe I can stop the interviews. But as far as controlling who we draft and who we pick and who we put on his team, he's done a fantastic job. He's the coaches haven't gotten the most out of this roster, and it's the players on that roster, like Marcellus, they haven't performed, and there's just no leadership there.
You know, my biggest issue with the Cowboys is I don't really know what their brand and identity is when it comes to their team. Like, what are they built for? Are they a team that is hard-nosed, rugged, hard-working, play with effort? I don't know what that is. And so I can fault Jerry Jones for that because ultimately he is the general manager, he's the owner, he's the guy that sets the table. But a lot of the issues that plague the Cowboys didn't stem from him. It stemmed from the coaching staff. Like, at some point, we got to put some of this on Jason Garrett, the fact that they have been mediocre for a while and they've underperformed. When you look at the roster, Will McClay and Stephen Jones have done a good job of giving them a roster that appeared to be superior to any other roster in that division. For some reason, the players that they've acquired aren't playing to their potential on the field. To me, that's more of a coaching issue than a management issue.
Pains me to say this because I'm a huge Jerry Jones supporter, but he's a culture vulture. He undermines their culture. And I'm just sorry, we have to deal with that I've never seen a successful football team led from the owner's box or the general manager's chair. It's coaches and players.
Yeah.
And Jerry, to me, is a lot like, if you don't take that field or put on a headset and call plays, you can't be a distraction. And so it's like Jerry is the Colin Kaepernick of owners.
Wow.
All the distraction, he's the weekly, daily distraction who's not going to take the field and whose drama isn't worth what he's giving us on the field. And so, I really have a lot of respect for Jerry and thought with his son there and with all the success, he's already in the Hall of Fame. Back off and let your son handle this and see if that changes the results. I thought that was a possibility. It doesn't appear to be happening.
Yeah, I mean, he really doesn't understand the impact of culture. I don't think he understands how he's contributing to this culture in good ways and more so in bad ways. Culture is not what you hear. It's not what you read on the bulletin board walking into the locker room and all those phrases and adages of motivation, professionalism, desire, discipline. It's what you see is actually rewarded by the great ones in that room. And when you see malcontent behavior rewarded, when you see guys who don't have those leadership qualities or that professionalism rewarded, culture changes immediately to fall in line to what that person just gave you an example. And then Jerry Jones puts condiments on top of that, not only rewarding those players, but then talking like someone who is coming from that mindset instead of someone who's like, look, in practice, it's about preparation. It's not about result. I need to do all the little things to build up to the moment where all of us are elated with success. But Jerry won't let that happen because he fast forwards you and puts you in a position where if you don't do it every single day in the way that he likes it with sizzle, more so than substance, then you're not the guy that's going to get the rewards.
And it could also be a case of if you're a player and you don't have fear of any type of thing you do coming from the coach, you're going to do what you want to do.
Bang.
If you piss me off as a coach and I'm a player and I know I can go talk to Jerry and whatever discipline you decide, and I go talk to Jerry and there's going to be no discipline, you undermine the coaches. And I don't know if that's going on, but just Jerry Jones, like, he's the show. And I saw that. Like, he has a person that follows him everywhere. He's signing autographs. He's taking, almost like he's the player. And he's built the Cowboys to where if you're a free agent, you want to play for the Cowboys. If I was playing right now, I would want to play for the Cowboys. You want to play for the Dallas Cowboys. Just the owner. He seems to be a great owner. The atmosphere.
It's P. Diddy all up in the video.
But he is. Take that. But you want to.
Yes, better.
You would want to play for the Cowboys.
Right.
Just be the ambiance, that stadium. You want to play there.
So here's what I say Jerry Jones can do, and I think he can still a page since you're an old Laker fan. I think he can follow something that's been established by Pat Riley. Pat Riley's the owner. When you think about the Miami Heat, Pat Riley is the defining thing that you think about. I think what Jerry Jones has to do is he has to make sure that with all of that power, that he uses it responsibly, meaning that whatever the culture is, he has to continue to repeat that and make sure that everybody understands that from top down. I also believe that the next coach that he hires, if it's not Jason Garrett, it has to be someone that can challenge him and also take it over. When Bill Parcells was there, they were able to have success. It has to be someone up under him that can challenge him and put him in place and put him in line so they can establish it with the team.
I just look at the culture of the New England Patriots, and you get rewarded there based on production, not some emotional connection that the Bill Belichick has with you. And again, I'm halfway joking, but it's almost like P. Diddy versus Suge Knight. Suge Knight was like the Bill Belichick. He had Tupac writing songs while he was in jail. As soon as he got out of jail, he kept him in the studio. He's a slave driver. Tupac put out more music in death because, Suge Knight forced him to. And I just don't see that kind of ruthlessness with Jerry. It's, can you be Jerry's friend? Oh, him and Tony Romo was like a son to me. Now Dak's like a son to him. Ezekiel Elliott, he's like a son to me. Oh, that's great for Pee Wee. NFL?
Right.
Nah, put a gun to their head.
That's it.
Hang them off balconies.
I get you. Figuratively, I understand what you're saying. But, Bucky, I got to push back one. Let's not get all enamored with the Bill Parcells, Jerry Jones connection. That was not as successful, actually, as Jason Garrett. Bill Parcells had a lower win percentage and didn't do anything in the postseason. We're all parents up here except my boy J-Dub. Here's the thing. You don't reward the kid that has all the talent but is not behaving properly. You got to reward the one that's doing it right, even if they don't have the results, because you got to build up their hardware so that the life software that comes at them through every single moment, they're properly prepared for it. Jerry giving out rewards to Ezekiel and other guys who didn't necessarily live up to the entire standard of professionalism is part of what's undermining this culture.
You just explained my whole childhood. My brother got treated royally because he did everything right. I got treated badly because I did everything wrong. Drove me crazy. All right, let's move to Seattle, where the 49ers pulled out a thrilling win last night, stopping the Seahawks inches short of the goal line on fourth down with seconds left in the game. San Francisco has been the NFC frontrunners for most of the season, and last night's victory handed Kyle Shanahan's squad the top seed and home field advantage throughout the playoffs. All right, the question here is, did the 49ers prove they're the best team in the NFC? I say hell no.
I say hell no with you, baby, even louder. I didn't see it. I mean, Seattle lost that game more than San Francisco won it. We all know what happened at the end of the game and the no call, the wasting of the timeout, the actual delay of game, inches. And then even on the delay of game, I was like, why didn't Russell Wilson just run up to the line of scrimmage and try to sneak one in? I understand managing the clock. They thought they had luxury with timeouts when they had 2 with 1 minute to go. Then they found themselves desperate for a timeout in that situation. Seattle mismanaged that moment, or Seattle would have swept the San Francisco 49ers this year. So obviously what I saw last night didn't convince me. And then you look at New Orleans and boom. New Orleans sitting there like, oh, bring that to us, even though they got to go there. You look at New Orleans, I would put them as a favorite over San Francisco based on last night.
Man, am I watching the same games y'all watching? What am I missing? The last time I checked, and yes, the 49ers are the team to beat.
Go ahead, Nipsey Hussle.
They beat the Green Bay Packers. They killed them. They
yeah.
beat the Saints in the Superdome. And the game last night against Seattle they won the game. It was on the road. And the reason they're the team, the 49ers have proven we can win either way. We can win with our defense carrying us early in the season, or we can win with our defense not playing so well. Jimmy G with the Saints. Last night it was a mixture of both. They can win running the ball. They can win throwing the ball. And so for me, and they've beaten the Packers, like I said. They've beaten the Saints. They've beaten the Seahawks. Those are the 3 teams that are going to challenge them. Of course, they're the team to beat.
Yeah, I don't think it proved they're the best, but it certainly proved that they're one of the elite at the top. That'll be decided after the NFC Championship game. But I tell you what, they are the best at, and that's running the football. That zone read game, the zone blocking game, and the way they run the football with Mostert or Breida, it changes the dynamic of what they can do. And, this team, the way they can run the football, they're going to be very hard to stop, throughout the playoffs. And I think that's what makes them one of the top teams. But like you say, they beat some of the best teams in the National Football League. They beat the Green Bay Packers. They beat the Saints on the road, and I think that was one of the biggest marquee wins that they could have had. So, yes, certainly amongst the top, but the Seattle Seahawks did give them problems, and they happened to win that game. It's just going to be tough sledding down the road. But the good thing is they're at home.
I'm going to say my hell no is not an indictment of the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo is better than I've been giving him credit for. Mm-hmm. Let me just say that. And Kyle Shanahan is terrific. And I think San Francisco's a hell of a team. The problem San Francisco has is that Sean Payton is so locked in, Sean Payton right now is trying to prove he's the best coach in football right now. And I actually think he's doing it. I've been critical. I think, going after Antonio Brown or whatever, entitlement, blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, Sean Payton and Drew Brees this year have New Orleans locked in a way that, to me, they're the only real threat to Baltimore and meeting their level of focus and can give Baltimore some real problems. Because Sean Payton, Michael Thomas, Drew Brees, the New Orleans defense, that getting robbed last year, I thought it might hurt them, but it clearly has inspired them and has them playing some of the best football in the NFL. And I just think they're better than San Francisco. I think San Francisco is very good, but I just think the Saints are on a mission.
Yeah, I mean, that first half, watching the game, listening to Collinsworth and them talk about it, that was a junior varsity Seattle team out there in that first half. And they're up 13 donut. It should have been greater. Then you see in the second half, it's a dogfight with this same team that marched out there in the second half, and Jimmy G was perfect in the second half. Yeah. Even with a perfect quarterback, you still had to go down to the last second, inches away from the goal line, and they had to actually undermine their own success. They've given up 31 points per game the last 4 games. The defense is living off the early season successes and stats, and right now it's catching up to them. Then you go into the playoffs, you see New Orleans. I don't care if it is in Santa Clara. Giving up 31 a tilt, and then you see New Orleans, they're going to run up the score.
When you've proven you can win so many different ways.
Yeah.
The Saints, they got to play Minnesota. That's going to be a tough out. And then you're going to have to go on the road and play in Green Bay. New Orleans, they're at their best when they can play in that dome.
Me and you can beat Green Bay.
Not in Green Bay.
Yes, we can.
What's the weather?
They're going to have to be able. They're going to be able. They need to run the ball. They're not going to be able to throw the ball around the field and get Michael Thomas all these catches in Green Bay. And so I don't care what the 49ers have. They've won games against teams on the 2 hardest places to play on the road are New Orleans and Seattle. And they won both of those games. Those are the 2 hardest places in the NFL to play on the road. And they've won both of those games.
Kansas City says something about that.
The defense for the San Francisco 49ers is really concerned because they can't get pressure with the front 4. I mean, they did it in the beginning of the year. They was generating sacks and harassing quarterbacks. But now it's like, this is the time of the year where you got to get pressure. You got to, make quarterbacks be under duress. And Bosa is the nucleus of the defense. He got to be the guy that's going to generate the pressure, and that'll help that defense become better, in the postseason. TJ,
I think this is off the top of my head, but I think Seattle's lost 4 home games this year. So, it's been different there. Look, again, I don't want to denigrate San Francisco. I just think we're overlooking how special New Orleans is because of Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson has taken all the spotlight in the NFL, and that offense is so unique and he's so exciting that it wasn't until this weekend that people started promoting, hey, this New Orleans team just set a record, 8 turnovers for the entire season. They are so incredibly focused and feel like, and again, I called it entitled, but whatever, they feel this is the payback tour. And this is, it's Ice Cube leaving NWA and coming out with no Vaseline. That's what they're doing. 8 turnovers, that's a new NFL record. They're that efficient, playing that kind of fundamentally sound football. This is Sean Payton's greatest coaching performance, and no one's talking about it because of Lamar Jackson.
Preach right there. I mean, he's suffocating all the conversation because of his greatness, well-deserved. But to stay focused on the 49ers, I think offensively, you say they can win in a myriad of ways, but in 3 of the last 5 games, points scored, 17, 22, and 26 we saw last night against Seattle that was sputtering. And then you look at New Orleans, they averaged 40 the last 4 games. Like, New Orleans is in stride at the right time. They're not living off their early season success. They're living off of right now in this moment. Whoever you put in front of us, we're going to run a roughshod on.
Michael Vick and Bucky Brooks are back. Let's move to Tampa, where Jameis Winston made history yesterday, throwing a last-second pick six to become the first player to ever throw 30 touchdowns and 30 interceptions in the same season. They stopped the game and honored Jameis. But he's not the only former number 1 pick who struggled this year. Baker Mayfield finished this season with a loss to the lowly Bengals. Both of these guys clearly had very disappointing years, but they also have enough talent to have been the first overall picks. They caught Baker before the game arguing with a fan like he's a defensive tackle.
Exactly.
Which quarterback will be easier to fix, Jameis Winston or Baker Mayfield?
Jameis Winston. Because, in part, who I'm comparing him to, and Baker Mayfield, who right now doesn't know which way is up. Baker Mayfield is tripping. He's going into the offseason saying he doesn't need a quarterback coach. I'm going to handle this myself. Man. I got this. Yeah. Okay. One, that's dumb because you need somebody objective that knows the craft that can help you with your 59% completion percentage. But go ahead and do it. But 2, that's not even smart. It's not even mature. You want to distance yourself from criticism instead of add ammunition, because as soon as you fail next year, in any moment, someone's going to say, you didn't even take your craft seriously to work with someone that can help you in these situations. Not a mature decision, especially to say it publicly. But I'm going to give it to you guys how I've learned from my 4-year-old son who's taking Taekwondo, green belt too, so he'll whoop somebody up here. I don't know who. There's a thing, especially the way you feeling today, right? He got you. There's a thing they teach called body control. Why do they teach body control? Because they want these kids, even at this young age, to physically stop moving so you can know where your mind is. Your number 1 distraction is not external. It's in here. Your mind's racing, doing all these things, calculations, what I got to do tomorrow, what I just did. And even at a young age, you can learn that. That is a very important principle. Baker Mayfield hasn't learned that yet. He's still spouting out at fans in the 12th row. He's still talking about coaching situations that are out of his hands. He has not stopped to recognize what his issues are and then properly address them. So I'm going with Jameis.
Yeah, I think Jameis is easy to fix because Jameis's issues, I believe, are strictly on the field.
Easy to fix.
I think they're easier to fix than Baker.
Oh, easier. Okay.
Yeah, look, the turnovers.
Serious like a word.
No. The turnovers.
Not right now.
Look, the turnovers are the turnovers, and he has to cut those down. But I think in his heart of hearts, he's intensely competitive. He's a hard worker. He wants to do it the right way. He wants to win. With Baker Mayfield, I don't really know at the end of the day if Baker Mayfield is coachable. I think Baker Mayfield has had enough guys that have tried to do things that he kind of wants to do it on his own. And we saw how quickly he seemingly turned on Freddie Kitchens. I just don't know if that's the kind of guy that I would want as my franchise quarterback because I don't know if he's all in and is going to do it the right way.
Yeah, I'm going to say Jameis as well. I agree with, all of you guys. I mean, when you look at Jameis and the snaps and the reps that he's been able to take this year, over the last couple of years, he's put up numbers. He acknowledged the problem yesterday. I think that's the biggest thing, knowing that I got to eliminate turnovers. He got Bruce Arians. He got Brian Leftwich to help him with those problems. And like you say, he's a hard worker. He believes in himself. And he's not afraid, but the one thing he has to learn to do is sometimes say no. In the moment, it's not easy to do when you have to make a decision on the field when everything is going 100 miles an hour. But you can pull it down and you can run it. You can throw it away, and that's part of the fix. With Baker, who knows? I think for him, he needs a quarterback coach or a coach that can, help keep him under control, control his emotions and let him know, listen, buddy, the NFL stands for not for long. You don't have to be here. It's a privilege, not a right. Play the game and play it the way it's supposed to be played. He just needs guidance. I think Jameis has that.
I'm going to have to go the other direction just based purely off of age. I'm reluctant to give up on young people. Baker's younger than Jameis Winston. And look, this is a coin flip. I wouldn't want the task for either one. It's like being my personal trainer.
Struggling.
But again, when I look at Jameis Winston, and I've been saying this for a good 7 years, I call him Gomer Pyle. He's well-intentioned, but he cannot help himself. And you go back to his problems at Florida State, and he has a propensity just to do things that like blow your mind. Like, I can't believe he's this stupid. I can't believe he's under this spotlight at Florida State, and he's standing on a table saying these things, and then it's just he's taking crab legs. He's a Heisman Trophy winning quarterback, and he's doing X, Y, and Z. And then when I go look at his play, it's the exact same thing. It's like every time, it's like that pick six yesterday at the end of that game is like, wow, that's Jameis Winston. I'm telling you, because I agree with Mike or Bucky who said, because I said this a year or two ago, he threw a tantrum on the field at the end of a game. I think it was maybe last year. And I was like, man, this dude really wants it bad. He does care about the game more than Baker Mayfield, in my opinion. But he's Gomer Pyle. He just can't help himself. And there's always going to be Bruce Arians and Sergeant Carter yelling and screaming but you just can't fix Jameis. It's a personality quirk.
Man, how about even greater than just yesterday, Gomer Pyle? Y'all remember Jameis's first pass in the NFL?
Yeah.
It was a pick six. He came in the league going out the same way we saw his last pass this season. And it's crazy. We can't sit up here and minimize turnovers. Bruce Arians, the quote that's going around right now, when they asked him, could he win with this team with another quarterback, he said, with another quarterback? Oh, yeah. Oh, if we can win with this one, pop. We can definitely win with another one, too. So now, since I ain't got to protect your confidence because we don't have any games left and you're not under contract, I can start talking the truth. So minimizing turnovers, like you said, Bucky, like, all you need to do is fix that. That's being in love with the girl and say, all I got to do is stop cheating. We good. She like, wait a minute. And you like, yeah, it's a lot harder than it sounds, don't it? So stay out the streets, Jameis, with that football. But he can't fix these turnovers. I really don't think he can fix that. You got to build around that.
Name me another quarterback who would do a pregame speech eating his hands. Seriously. This is where I go Gomer Pyle.
That was weird.
Eating the W's.
He's trying to eat a dub.
Name me another quarterback that would do it.
I can't.
They on the bench.
Baker's the only one potentially that could do something along those lines. And again, that's why I said they're the same guy. Jameis, to me, is more talented. He's got the prototypical size. His arm is second to none. But again, I go back, Baker's younger, man. I think you got a better chance of changing youth than a guy that's been in the, it's been 8 straight years of like perplexing play and behavior from Jameis Winston.
But Baker's in the Cleveland Brown organization. First time since 2002 we saw a quarterback play all 16. But then when he plays all 16 with that stability, look what happens. So it's too frat boy fresh. It's too like, I got this and I don't care what y'all talking about. He has not yet been faced with that harsh reality of the consequences because all the commercials and the film crews and Facebook promos, all that came so fast. So it takes a while to descend from that altitude.
Let me ask you this, Mike. Did you Jameis yesterday was very confident with his comments. I'm the best. I know I got to fix this.
I like that from him.
You do? You like that?
I like that. I like the fact that, like I said, he acknowledged he know what his problem is. And for him, it's to go back and look at all the film from this year, from the last couple years and say, I can improve in this area. I can get better, when I'm throwing the football in second and long, third and medium. Like, it has to be more detailed. And I don't know if he comes back to Tampa Bay next year. I don't know if he's still under contract, one more season. But both of these guys got one more year to prove, I think, that they can get it done.
All right, welcome back. Whitlock and Wiley, TJ Husmanzada and Bucky Brooks are back. Time now for the most fearless discussion of the day. Let's move to the Eagles, who pulled off the seemingly impossible, clinching the NFC East with a win over the Giants yesterday. Carson Wentz faced heavy criticism most of the year, but managed to lead a team held together by duct tape and paper clips to 4 straight wins. And despite all the injuries to key starters on offense, Wentz has put up good numbers during the win streak, completing 67% of his passes, throwing for almost 300 yards per game, with 7 touchdowns, no picks, and a passer rating over 100. All right, did Carson Wentz, over the last month, did he just silence all of his critics?
Nope, not at all. They on pause, just waiting to pounce on Carson Wentz once they fail in the playoffs. And let's just be real, 11 of the 12 teams will fail in the playoffs. He has an impossible setup, and I actually am empathetic for Carson Wentz because typically you're asked to follow someone who's great, and we know about that pressure. Marcellus, you're going to be the next Bruce Smith. No, I ain't. But in Buffalo, I was for 1 year. When you got somebody in front of you, if you're Steve Young, it's Joe Montana. Well, I can't fill those shoes. All I could do is be me, and that's the typical response. But look at this example. They're asking him to be greater in success than someone he's already better than. Huh? So his mind is like, I'm better than Nick Foles. But do I have the same level of achievement? No, I don't. I have to make sure that this team has that ultimate success, which is win a Super Bowl championship that they already won with a guy that you're better than. That's out of your hands. Like, Super Bowl championships don't just come to the most talented quarterback, the greatest quarterback who goes on a 3-4 game run in the playoffs. So I'm just thinking, in reality, he is set up to fail. Because as soon as this team loses, we know what we're going to hear. Nick Foles would have inspired someone to play greater than they did, despite injury, no matter what circumstance. So feel for you, Carson, but I don't see how this is going to work out good for you.
Now, look, I'll be the first one to say that I used to come down hard on Carson Wentz. I'd even had a conversation about Carson Wentz and Dak Prescott, who would I take, and I was leaning towards Dak. But I'm going to say this last 4-game run has really convinced me that he is a franchise quarterback worthy of being the second overall pick in the draft. Quarterbacks come in 2 categories. They're either trucks or they're trailers. They either pull the squad or the squad pulls them. I think this 4-game scenario showed us that Carson Wentz can elevate the squad. He's playing with guys off the street, and he's been able to not only win games, but to get this team in the playoffs. The Philadelphia Eagles had no business being in the playoffs with the personnel that they have available to him, but the fact that he has been able to take his game up a notch, to me, all the critics should be silent. He is everything that he was supposed to be and more.
He silenced the critics for the moment, and the last 4 games, not one of those teams were a playoff team that he beat. He did beat the Giants twice. They're going to pick in the top 5. He beat the Redskins. They'll also be picking in the top 5.
There you go.
And then they beat the Cowboys. So the critics are silenced. And he's playing with, as I would say, decorations. Players that they're just out there for decoration, those receivers. If you look, the last 4 games, and I was paying it, he completed 67.6% of his passes. In the last 4 games, 67.6% of his passes were completed by, or they were caught by, the tight ends and running backs. So all he's doing is he's playing it safe, and he'll make a big throw to a receiver here and there. But Zach Ertz, Dallas Goedert, Miles Sanders, Boston Scott.
Their receivers are garbage, TJ.
And that's why I said they're out there with decoration.
Lamar Jackson's making a killing throwing to his tight ends.
Lamar Jackson, the way they play is completely different.
That's true.
Carson Wentz, for the moment, the critics are silenced. But we can't when they're going to play Seattle this week, Pete Carroll is not going to let Dallas Goedert, Zach Ertz, and Miles Sanders beat him. He's just not going to let them do it. He's going to you're going to have to throw the ball.
Matter. He got him into the playoffs with,
and you
spare parts.
In your last 4 games, you beat the Giants twice, the Cowboys, and the Redskins. And I'm giving him his credit for that. When you play in the NFL, it doesn't matter who you play. Everybody can play. The worst player on the roster is a good player. So you give him that credit. But he did not beat a playoff team, and it's what Marcellus said. As soon as they lose to Seattle, it's going to be, man, here we go.
No way. Because, listen, it would almost be like if the Patriots had beaten the Dolphins. Oh, my God, they only beat the Dolphins. Well, just like you said, all these guys in the NFL can play, and when this guy's going out there with a mash unit, no Lane Johnson, not just receivers, a mash unit, their secondaries tore up. This guy figured out a way to get his team into the playoffs. The other beautiful thing for him is Nick Foles is done. He's been exposed. And it was a nice little run he had with Philadelphia, but let's don't kid ourselves. He's not a franchise quarterback. Carson Wentz is, again, you can nitpick him all you want, I guess, but to me, he's proven his point. He's one of the most talented young quarterbacks in the NFL. A lot of the criticism to me, Alshon Jeffrey and whoever else was leaking stuff in Philadelphia, because he throws to his tight ends. That's where all the leaks and everything was coming from. Receivers not happy, they're not getting the ball. Well, they need to shut up. And the Philadelphia organization needs to tell those guys to shut up. We got our quarterback. He figured out a way to help us win. Hop on board.
Disagree, man. They're coming. And that silence right now is just them building up a greater entourage of criticism that's just going to collapse on his head as soon as they lose. Got a couple of examples here. As I talked about, this is an unconventional model. He is not trying to surpass a great. He's surpassing Nick Foles, who got exposed, which is actually worse. You know why? Steve Young, when he finally, in the fourth quarter of a blowout championship Super Bowl, said, "The monkey's off my back," because he knew he was trying to surpass a great. Kobe had to wait a few years when Shaq was gone, and then finally was like, start counting them, because he's like, I got one without Shaq. That's in the regular, traditional follow a great model. This one, he has to follow someone he's already better than. So it's an impossible feat unless they win it all. And everyone's saying this mass unit. Study the game, y'all. Y'all remember in Aaron Rodgers' third year when they went out there 10-6, 15 guys on IR, and they were like, where's Brett Favre?
He ain't Aaron Rodgers.
Boom, my point. It took Aaron Rodgers to go out there and win a Super Bowl with a mass unit for people to finally say, all right, let him live. And then he went out there the next year, fully healthy, 15-1, and lost in the divisional game, and some criticism came back to Aaron Rodgers. You think Carson Wentz going to be exempt for beating 4 non-playoff teams? You're crazy.
No, look, he's still going to get the criticism because that's what people do, like it's confirmation bias. But I think when you really look at this objectively, with what he was tasked with, the people that he had to play with in the stretch, for him to get this team into the postseason, and even though those teams had no business there, top 5 teams picking in the draft, the fact that he knocked them out and the way that they looked doing it, I think he'd earned not only some currency on the outside, but on the inside, I think his teammates now view him a little differently. And also, it'll make it easier for the Eagles to move on for those veterans that were criticizing him, either anonymously. He now has won that locker room, and I think it makes it easier for him to elevate himself as a franchise quarterback.
Let's move to New Orleans, where Antonio Brown worked out for the Saints Friday, but not without the usual drama. According to our own Jay Glazer, AB was asked not to bring an entourage to the tryout, but showed up with a film crew, a nutritionist, and some hangers-on anyway. Glazer says it's unlikely Brown would play this year, and AB appeared to respond today, tweeting, quote, "Life goes on." All right, the question here is, did AB ruin his chances at an NFL comeback?
Nope, not at all. Don't get distracted. I understand it's not the best look in actually define exactly what they asked you to do coming to the workout, but how did the workout go? Oof, AB was out there being AB, and I know they saw that. Oh, yeah. I'm not talking about entourages and the nutritionists. I'm talking about, did you drop balls? Did you look a mess?
I thought I read Sean Payton said...
Well, Sean Payton gonna say whatever he got to say to kind of say why I'm not signing him in this moment, because the distraction is to talk about AB and all these antics. The reality is the NFLPA and your agent, Drew Rosenhaus, needs to earn their keep in this moment. You need legal clarity. Everyone's song is going to change once you have legal clarity to know how long is he suspended and when can I actually take advantage of him as a commodity on the field. Once that happens, you're not going to hear any issue with how AB is looking outside the football field.
Look, man, AB is going to eventually play again.
Yep.
However, AB ruined a great opportunity to go to the New Orleans Saints. And I don't think the Saints had any intention of signing him this year, but they were kicking the tires on maybe signing him next year and seeing what he would look like. And he hasn't hit rock bottom yet. So for AB to get back in the league, he is going to have to hit rock bottom where he's humble enough to come in and be compliant to what a coach or organization wants. Right now, he's still too Hollywood to have an opportunity to come into the league. All that other stuff, the entourage and the camera crews, they have to disappear before someone's going to seriously consider signing him.
Yeah, I believe he'll play in the NFL again. He's ruined his chances for this year, but the NFL has all but said you're not playing this year.
Right.
I actually do believe he's hit rock bottom. He just doesn't realize, like,
He doesn't realize
I've
he
hit
did it.
rock. You've literally been suspended without being suspended. They need to press the NFL and say, what is it?
Yeah.
And the Saints, I don't believe they want to sign him this year. I'm with you. Because they know this was a test. If we're thinking about signing him, can I trust him? Okay, these are the conditions we're going to set forth.
Yep.
And you failed the test. They were just giving you a test and you failed it. And so for that point, it doesn't look good, but he's too talented not to play again. Somebody's going to take a chance on him.
I'm not so sure. I'm not convinced because I'm not sure if he's ever going to come up out of his delusion and his film crews and the whole documentation of his whole life. And I'm just not sure if there's any teams, and particularly any legitimate teams, that want to bring that drama into their locker room. And I do think this was a test, not unlike the test the NFL gave Colin Kaepernick. And Colin Kaepernick showed up in a Kunta Kinte shirt, and AB showed up. They told, hey, who goes to a job interview and brings an entourage? I mean,
not at that status. I don't know if you guys have had to be a guy to work out, but I was one of those guys that had to work out. You come humble, you just kind of try in. Can I run some routes? Can I do whatever? So, yeah, like that was silly, idiotic.
Look, this was not a test because they weren't going to grade it. It doesn't matter if he aced it or failed it. They weren't making a test because they couldn't sign him. The real crux of this issue is his legal clarity or lack thereof. This isn't Kaepernick's interview as well, or workout, because Kaepernick's workout, Kunta Kinte shirt, bad. Dribbling 5-yard outs, worse. Like, they saw that. Versus AB, I'm hitting them cuts. I'm hitting that 9 route for you. Lay it right where you need to. So they're in a completely different place. They just need to let everyone know with definitive answer, when is he coming back?
I thought I read this morning, someone correct me if I'm wrong, I thought Sean Payton's comments after the workout were, I think AB wasn't anticipating playing this year, and that's how he looked.
That's what he said.
And
yeah, he did.
And so I'm not sure if AB wowed anybody with his preparation. And again, that's why I go back. This was like a test. Is this dude serious? Yes, he's got great talent, but he's not even in shape. And then he's bringing 6, 7, 8 people along with him. I just think the NFL would look. The guy can play. They'd love to have him. He can help draw TV ratings. But I just don't know if the NFL is going to tolerate the silliness of AB at this point. The ratings, they don't miss AB. The NFL is perfectly fine without AB. I don't know which head coach, after what he did to Mike Mayock and John Gruden, after what he did to Bill Belichick, after what he did to Mike Tomlin, why sign up for that?
This needs to be a lesson to every player. And when I was playing, people used to always say, man, it's a privilege to play in the NFL. Yeah. And I used to be like, this ain't no damn privilege. I've earned this. What you talk? The further you get removed and you get towards the end of your career, you realize it's a privilege. When they tell you that early on, you're not listening to that. This needs to be a lesson to all the young kids out there. You can't conduct yourself this way. And the NFL is going to move on without you. It's done it with so many great players that have played in this league and that are no longer playing it. The NFL is going to keep rolling, man. Either you're going to follow suit or you're going to get left behind.
Yeah, that sounds good, TJ, and that's what I'm going to teach my kids. But then my kids going to come back and be like, well, Ezekiel just got paid. And I'm like, oh, yeah, that's that culture over there. And then you're going to
talk to Zeke in 5 years. If he keeps that up, he's going to keep wanting to play.
Okay, but we know, I think everyone up here is saying, if you get legal clarity, we know he's going to be on some team. So that's going to be another team that's going to buy into that same culture.
So sure.
I'm not sure either because I don't know what his clarity is going to look like. But if you're saying that NFL is rolling along, not missing you, it's like, remember when we were growing up, we had Kool-Aid, and on the back it said 2 cups of sugar?
Yeah.
Who in the hell did just 2 cups of sugar?
You got to put 4
You got to put 4, 5. You got to dump
put 4 in there.
They go upside down with the sugar, right? And it feels like it can always be sweeter. Like, AB, yeah, we can roll this way, but you can always add a little more to make it better.
I'm going to go back to what we talked about on Friday. I just think AB is in a weird space in terms of the issue as it relates to women. And it's a funny bone issue for the NFL that they have to tread very carefully because whoever brings him back onto their team, if this dude spins out of control in any way, hurts himself or hurts a woman, that's on that team. That's on the NFL. That's why I think they're going to be careful. And they just did a little test. Hey, the Saints bring you in. And this guy just proved he's not serious.
Because the legal clarity that you wanted, the New Orleans Saints would have pressed the league for
Right,
that
good
if
point.
AB had been
Ask the
compliant.
test.
If he comes in without the entourage, he kills the workout.
Yeah.
Now Sean Payton is dazzled and saying, hey, we need to get him in the league, so what is it? But because he didn't do his job, now Sean Payton won't go to them and get that
All right,
credit.
Darnell, did anyone win the Super Six this weekend?
Yes, sir, they did. A huge shout out to the 3 fans who walked away with some cash this weekend. Make sure you download the Fox Sports Super 6 app and play for free for your chance to win.
Uncle Jimmy's here to help us talk about our approval ratings for Tom Brady.
You know.
But first, who's the big dummy of the day? Jimmy
The big dummy of the day goes to the person that said in the A block, I may be leaning out over my skis here a little bit.
I caught that.
They got a word. They got 2 words for that, nephew. Called avalanche. That's what it's called when you lean out over your skis.
That's 2 words.
Oh, man. All right. Yeah, that's 2 words. All right, let's talk Tom Brady, who had a rough Sunday throwing a pick-6 en route to an ugly loss to the Dolphins. Brady will now have to play on Wild Card Weekend for the first time in a decade, and his future in New England seems very up in the air. Marcellus, you think Brady is a Patriot next season?
I'm going to have to say yes, because I'm looking at the possible destinations out there. Obviously, you look at situations where Phillip Rivers in L.A. or people not franchised, Tampa Bay and Cowboys. Where is Brady going to land? So I just think that somehow they come to an understanding or a compromise that keeps him a part of this dynasty somehow, some way. Yeah.
I think Brady either retires or Josh McDaniels becomes the head coach and then of the Patriots and Brady stays.
Belichick just leaves because of what?
Goes to the Giants.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
done 20 in New England, but that's my theory, the wild hair.
Okay.
All right, Uncle Jimmy, what are your thoughts on Tom Brady?
That's why I hate people of the likes of yourself, nephew. You're the type of person that has no problem tempting fate of the 7 seas. It's like my grandmammy said, you don't believe that fat meat's greasy. What does that mean, you say? It means that I can show you better than I can tell you. There's no fool like an old fool. Or as they say, you're gonna learn today, matey. Look here, man, we talking about Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
Yeah.
All right? Hey, man, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady done came back from the dead more times than you done went and got a clean plate at a Vegas buffet. Look, man, they like Michael Myers in the Halloween movie.
Yeah.
Remember when he fell off the balcony, you thought he was dead, and you went and looked back at him, and he was gone?
Yeah.
Hey, that's Tom Brady and the Patriots. Just when you think they dead, Tom Brady come up behind you with an OJ knife. Ha! Bill Belichick come behind you with a chainsaw. Ah! Wreaking havoc on the NFL. Been doing it for years. Hey, look, they like the movie franchise that will never end. They're like the Fast and the Furious. Except now they call themselves the Old and the Delirious. Look, man, the fans in New England yesterday acted like they was in an episode of South Park. They up there talking about, oh my God, you killed Tom Brady, you bastards. But he always show back up next week. Look, nephew, I'm telling you, bro, this is why I don't like you. Okay?
How do you not
You
like
have
him?
no respect for the metaphysical, microbiological hubris of your actions.
Wow.
Okay, I done told y'all before.
Whatever that is.
Look, man, I don't play with fate. I don't tempt fate. I might break some man-made laws, but there's some rules I don't play with.
All right.
Look, I won't walk under a ladder. Hell, my nephew might be at the top of it. Look, man, some people don't open an umbrella indoors.
Yeah.
I won't open a Big Mac within arm's width of my nephew. I don't tempt fate. You know what I'm talking about, Darkles. Okay. I read your book.
Okay.
You talk about how kids used to tease you in school. Talking about you step on a crack, you make Marcellus turn more black. And we all know how that turned out.
Keep stepping.
See, it wasn't funny, was it? Look, man, I'm telling you, I ain't dancing on Bill Belichick, Tom Brady's grave. And neither should you, nephew. Big as you is, you might fall in. Think about it. Aye, off with your head, matey.
All right, let me get to my
Mouthy.
approval rating for Tom Brady. Leave O.J. Simpson out of this.
Man,
forward.
please, that's the home.
But I'm going.
You know me and OJ.
You need to tell him to cut it out.
Hey, that's my dog.
A 73 All-Star
his moves.
status. I dropped him 1 point in job performance. I can't. We've gone off the rails.
Yeah, I had to drop him in job performance as well. And authenticity. He knows they have some serious issues that he's trying to cover up for right now. So.
All right, the internet completely disagrees with us. They still have Brady.
He'll the GOAT.
He'll be
GOAT
back.
status.